The night sky over downtown Aurelia shimmered with neon reflections bouncing off the glass towers. Businessmen in luxury cars filled the streets, and chauffeurs lined up outside the city's most prestigious restaurant, Prime, a place where one dinner cost more than an average person earned in a month. Inside, the ambience was breathtaking. Golden chandeliers dripped from the ceiling like melting stars, the marble floors glowed under the warm lights, and soft jazz floated through the air. Every table was filled with people dressed in tailored suits, diamond earrings, and designer watches that sparkled whenever they lifted their glasses. Tonight, however, the glittering room was about to witness a story it would never forget. At a quiet corner table, away from the spotlight, sat a man who didn't match the rest of the crowd. Ethan Hale, dressed in a plain gray jacket that looked worn from years of use and a simple black t-shirt underneath, blended into the background almost too easily. He didn't look rich. He didn't look important. He looked like a man who was either lost or didn't belong. But the truth was far more shocking. Ethan Hale was the secret billionaire owner of Hale Industries, a company negotiating one of the biggest contracts in the country, a $600 million global development deal. Yet he chose to walk alone, without security, without branding, and without anything that revealed his wealth. Ethan liked to observe people without letting them know who he truly was. He had learned long ago that most people treated you based on what you looked like, not who you were. Too many fake smiles surrounded him whenever he wore his expensive suits. Too many lies. Too much flattery. So every once in a while, he stepped into the real world dressed like an ordinary man. It helped him see people's true colors. Tonight, Prime was hosting several members of the negotiation team, the people bidding for a partnership with Hale Industries. Ethan wanted to see how professionally they behaved in public. He wanted to see character, not rehearsed confidence. A large central table set the team he had come to observe, led by a man he already had concerns about, Marcus Drake. Marcus was tall, loud, and always full of himself, the kind of man who smiled at wealthy people and sneered at anyone who looked below him. His shiny navy suit looked expensive, his golden cufflinks sparkled, and each time he laughed, it echoed across the room like he wanted everyone to hear it. Ethan watched quietly as Marcus talked arrogantly with his colleagues. Tomorrow is the big meeting, Marcus boasted. We'll charm the hell out of the mystery executive Hale Industries is sending. One of his colleagues smirked, and once we secure that $600 million partnership, we'll be set for life. They clinked glasses together. Ethan sighed internally. Set for life? With that attitude? Let's find out. Just then, Marcus glanced toward the corner and noticed Ethan sitting alone with a simple glass of water, his lip curled with disgust. Look at that, he whispered loudly enough for half the restaurant to hear. Prime must be letting in anyone now. His team laughed, a nasty kind. Marcus shook his head with mock disappointment, probably came in to use the bathroom and pretended to order something. Ethan lifted his water glass calmly, pretending not to hear, but Marcus wasn't done. He picked up a tall glass of deep red wine, swirling it between his fingers as he grinned at his teammates. Should we make him wake up from his daydream? Marcus, don't, one colleague said softly, but Marcus was already walking toward Ethan. The restaurant grew quieter. Some diners noticed the tension and turned their heads. Ethan didn't move. He gazed ahead, calm as still water. Marcus approached the table, acting like he had no idea where he was going. Oh, sorry, he said with fake innocence as he stumbled. Before Ethan could lift a hand, splash, the entire glass of red wine poured down on Ethan's head like a cold waterfall. It soaked his hair, ran down his face, drenched his shirt, and dripped onto the floor. The dark red liquid spread like a stain of humiliation across the marble beneath him. A few people gasped. The waiter froze. A couple covered their mouths. Marcus burst into a satisfied grin. My mistake, he said loud enough for the entire restaurant to hear. Didn't see you there. His team chuckled behind him. Marcus tilted his head. Next time, try not to sit where actual customers walk. Ethan slowly wiped his face with a napkin. His eyes didn't blaze. His hands didn't shake. His expression stayed calm and steady, which almost unnerved Marcus. Accidents happen, Ethan said quietly. Marcus scoffed. Yeah, sure. Let's call it an accident. He turned around proudly, expecting applause, but the restaurant was silent. People didn't laugh. Some even looked annoyed at Marcus's behavior. Yet no one stepped in, not even the staff. They were afraid of losing their jobs by offending rich customers. Ethan stood up calmly, his wet shirt clinging to his skin. He placed money on the table for his water, even though he barely touched it. Then he looked at Marcus one last time, not with anger, but with a silent understanding. A look that said, I've seen enough. Marcus didn't recognize that look, but he would very soon. Ethan walked out of Prime, his step steady, the cold night air touching his drenched clothes. As soon as he stepped outside, he pulled out his phone and texted his assistant, "Schedule the morning meeting. I'll be there personally." His assistant replied instantly, "All set, sir." "Should I alert the negotiation team?" Ethan typed back, "No. I want them comfortable. Let them think tomorrow is normal." He put his phone away. Tonight, Marcus thought he had humiliated a poor man. Tomorrow, Marcus would discover that he had poured wine on the owner of the company he hoped to impress, and the consequences would be unforgettable. Morning sunlight spilled through the glass walls of Hale Industries headquarters, painting the marble floors with soft golden light. The building towered over the entire district, powerful, modern, impossible to ignore. Employees hurried inside with tablets and laptops, unaware that one of the biggest corporate storms in years was about to unfold in the top-floor conference hall. Marcus Drake and his team arrived early, dressed in their finest. Marcus wore the same confidence he carried everywhere, the type that turned into arrogance when placed in the wrong hands. He straightened his navy blue suit and smiled proudly at his team. "Today's the day we lock the biggest deal our company has ever touched," he said. "That mystery executive from Hale Industries won't know what hit him once we deliver our pitch." His colleague, Daniel, nodded nervously. "We don't even know who's evaluating us. Their internal files didn't reveal a name." Marcus smirked. "All these big companies love hiding their top executives. They act like royalty." Another coworker whispered, "What if it's a tough one?" Hale Industries is known for rejecting 90% of proposals. Marcus laughed loudly. "Relax. We've got charm, experience, and the numbers. Trust me, this is already in our pocket." But deep down, his confidence wasn't real. He had spent the entire morning haunted by a single thought, that man from the restaurant. Why did he look familiar? He pushed the thought away as the elevators opened, and they stepped out onto the top floor. The polished hallway led them to the grand conference hall, walls decorated with digital panels displaying Hale Industries' achievements, including the upcoming $600 million global development project. At the head of the long glass table sat a large leather chair, empty for now. Marcus took a deep breath. Showtime. But the moment they stepped inside, a few of them exchanged confused looks. The atmosphere was off. Assistants moved around quietly, as if something serious was brewing. Conversations were hushed. Eyes kept flicking toward the main entrance of the hall. Then, the room fell into complete silence. The doors swung open, and Ethan Hale walked in. But he wasn't the ordinary man Marcus had seen last night. He wasn't the guy in the cheap jacket, quietly sipping water in a corner. This Ethan was someone else entirely. He wore a perfectly tailored charcoal suit, clean white shirt, and a dark tie. His hair was neatly styled. His posture carried silent authority. Two senior board members followed behind him, speaking respectfully, almost reverently. Marcus froze. Daniel whispered, "Isn't that the guy from Astra Prime?" "Yes," Marcus whispered back, horrified. "But what's he doing here?" Ethan walked straight past them without a glance, reaching the head chair, and sat down. One of the board members stepped forward. "Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of our company's founder and CEO, Mr. Ethan Hale." The words hit the room like a thunderclap. Marcus's blood turned to ice. Founder, CEO, owner of Hale Industries, the man behind the $600 million deal. Ethan Hale, the same man Marcus drenched with wine, the same man Marcus insulted publicly, the same man Marcus mocked for looking poor. Marcus's knees nearly buckled. Ethan finally looked at him, calm but piercing, as if seeing straight through his soul. "Please, everyone sit," Ethan said, his voice controlled and powerful. The room sat instantly, except Marcus. He was too shaken to move until Daniel tugged his sleeve. He dropped into his chair, heart pounding violently. Ethan opened a folder and scanned the papers slowly. Marcus swallowed hard. Every second felt like a hammer hitting his chest. "Before we begin," Ethan said, "I want to address something important." He looked directly at Marcus now, not angry, not emotional, just coldly observant. "Last night," Ethan continued, "I visited Astra Prime to get a sense of how certain members of this proposal team behave outside the office. I prefer to evaluate character as well as competence." Marcus stopped breathing. Ethan didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The room was so silent that the sound of a pen clicking echoed like thunder. "Unfortunately," Ethan said, "what I witnessed was not professionalism, but arrogance. Disrespect. Cruelty." Marcus's face drained of all color. Ethan continued, "A man was humiliated. Insulted. Laughed at." Daniel looked at Marcus with wide eyes. The others sank deeper into their seats. "And all of this," Ethan said softly, was over nothing but the way he looked. He closed the folder gently, but the gesture felt like a judge closing a verdict. Marcus stood abruptly. "Mr. Hale, I didn't know it was you, that is the problem," Ethan replied sharply, finally showing emotion. "You treat people differently based on who you think they are. Respect shouldn't depend on someone's clothes or status." Marcus opened his mouth, but no words came out. Ethan slid a document across the table. "This is an official notice. Effective immediately, your team is removed from consideration for the $600 million partnership." Gasps erupted around the room. No, sir, please," Marcus stuttered. "This deal will transform our company." "I had a bad moment, a bad moment," Ethan challenged. "You deliberately targeted someone you assumed was beneath you." I can fix this," Marcus begged desperately. "Let me apologize properly. I was out of line." "I didn't," Ethan raised a hand. "Stop." Marcus fell silent instantly. Ethan leaned forward. "What you did last night wasn't a mistake. It was who you are when no one is watching." Marcus felt the world collapse around him. Ethan stood up slowly. "For that reason, your company will not move forward with us. Character matters more to me than polished presentations." He walked toward the exit, while Marcus stumbled after him. "Sir, please," Marcus pleaded. "Give us one more chance. I'm begging you." Ethan turned, his voice steady. "Final, Marcus, I don't do business with people who step on others to feel tall." And then, with a calmness that stung worse than any shout, he added, "Oh, and the next time you humiliate someone, make sure they don't own the building you're standing in." The door closed behind him with a soft click, but to Marcus, it sounded like the end of his career. The deal was gone, his reputation destroyed, his team stunned into silence, his arrogance exposed before the very men he tried to demean. Meanwhile, Ethan walked down the hallway, leaving the disaster behind him. He didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. He simply whispered to himself, "People show their truth when they think no one important is watching." And that truth had decided everything.